This is Conversations with a Citizen. I'm your host, Tia Carol Jones. I'm here today with Nikkita Randle, owner and creator of Twisted Egg Roll. Nikkita, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you said, I'm Nikkita Randle and I created Twisted Egg Roll 2015. It started off as a catering business where I had savory and sweet options and doing mostly corporate catering and pop-ups. I have a background in transportation and insurance, have my bachelor's and my master's. I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And so that's a lot of what I love to do, travel, cook. That was one of my main passions, and I was big on living generational wealth. And so this is one of the things I felt I could do and put all those things into one thing.
Okay. How did you come up with the idea for Twisted Egg Roll, and what makes the egg rolls twisted?
Great question. So when I first came up with it, it actually didn't even originate from something I thought of doing. Like I said, I always had a passion for cooking. Been cooking since I was 5 years old. My mom had me cooking pancakes from scratch on the step stool. But my boyfriend actually had tried some cheesesteak egg rolls and was like, you know, these are delicious. We have to go try these out. We had them. I was like, those are great. And then he was like, you know, you should just make some for us. You can make some yourself. So I made some for us for just like lunch one day. Another day he turns around and says, you should make some cheesecake egg rolls, a dessert one. And I said, cheesecake and an egg roll? I said, well, if that's what you want. And they were amazing. So then for my line sisters one day, I just decided, why don't I try a twist with apples? Same type of feeling I would have done for like an apple pie, but put it with the cheesecake. Okay. And they were like, this is like a piece of heaven in my mouth. Ooh. And I was literally sitting at work one day and I said, you could put anything in an egg roll. This is it. We typically think of Asian infused dishes, but I said, what if I do more American dishes, things we like chicken fajita, Philly steak. And I literally just started coming up with different recipes and building it in.
You kind of talked about your mom and the step stool and making pancakes. So is that where your passion for cooking came from?
Oh, definitely. We make majority of everything from scratch. So growing up, my mom was really big on, you know, you need to know how to take care of yourself. You need to know how to take care of your family. And I just started at such a young age and I picked up on it. And it's some stuff I passed her up on now. But some stuff I just still can't get quite as well as her. But yeah, I just definitely from then, I went through a stint when I was in high school. You know, we have our rebellious age. And I was like, I don't want to cook just because I don't feel like it. And then when I got to college, it was one of the things I started doing again. People would say, hey, we'll buy the groceries. I cook the food. So I kept us eating well, me and my roommates, with that little hustle. So,
What was the first flavor of egg roll you created, and how do you come up with the flavors for the egg rolls?
The first flavor was cheese steak. And I literally just tried to think, I'm such a foodie, so I love to eat. And I try to think of things that people typically eat a lot of. I feel like one thing we eat a lot of is Mexican kind of food, so that's where I thought of the chicken fajita. Okay. And I wanted to think of things with robust flavor, things that I can make sure that it's like, when you bite into this, you know, when you go to a restaurant and you recommend it sometimes, and people are like, what should I get? And it's not a bad thing on the menu. That's what my vision was for Twisted Egg Roll. So every time I thought of a recipe, I'm like, what is it that is not like, oh, only this, what these people would like it, like, what is this more so that it would be a common thing that most like? And actually, when I came up with the mac and cheese, that was actually one of my friends pouring into me because she was like, do the mac and cheese, do the mac and cheese. And I was like, I don't want to do that. And so that's the thing I realized too in business, and in any business. Sometimes you're doing things not just because you want to, but you realize that the mass would probably like it. And it's actually been one of my top sellers once I did. And she's like, I told you.
You started in 2014, and in 2015 it became official.
Yes.
And in 2020 you started to cater.
Yeah, so actually I started catering in 2016.
Okay. Okay.
So I was
Okay.
still working full time at the time. So I partnered with 1871.
Okay.
Originally, I won the Red Eye Big Idea Award in 2015, about October 2015, and that just catapulted me into a different sphere because when 1871 tasted that product, they were like, "We need you on our vendor list." They actually started a program called Shy Biz for women-owned businesses and minority-owned businesses because they realized they spend over $1 million in revenue on food a year, and they were like, we could do so much more with our dollar to impact small businesses if we did that. So I kind of chartered that and led the way with helping a lot of other people come along, and it introduced us to all the different clientele that they had there too. After that, we worked with Fuda. So they are a company that do partnerships with other corporations like Groupon, Motorola. They work out of a lot of corporate business downtown. They have some things out in the north suburbs as well. But pretty much since they already have those relationships, they bring us in as vendors and we could just pop up either in the lobby. Sometimes we actually go to their actual break room because some businesses are big enough where they have enough staff for us to come serve for their lunch hour. And then from there, we just started doing stuff like Comiskey Park. We also have done the Riverwalk. So we partnered with the city on that, and we were in the inaugural pool to get a space down there. So we really had started growing, and I walked away from doing corporate November 2016. Okay. Yep, and did it full time.
And so now you've expanded into consumer packaging and e-commerce. What would you say has been the key to your success?
Walking in my purpose. I am huge on my belief, and when God told me to move, that's what I did. When I quit my job, I literally worked to the last minute where I had no more sick days, vacation days, and I'm like, I have to make a decision. So either I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do what He put in my heart and in my mind to do. I lost my father to ALS in 2010, and he was really huge on entrepreneurship, creating generational wealth, and owning your own. I just didn't know, when he was still living, what that was that I wanted to do, which is why I did what we traditionally do, go to school, get educated. And I think I got a lot of great tools from doing that as well to help me in my business. But when when all of us have gifts, and He's placed them in it, and when you tap into that, you have to run with it because He will continue to keep opening doors. And all these things that I'm telling you about, as you can see, I wasn't seeking these things out. When I did the Red Eye Big Idea Award, I didn't know 1871 would be there and they would want to partner with me. They would start bringing me business and say, hey, we think you'll be a great candidate for this and that. And it's just, Fuda reached out to me. I didn't reach out to them because I said, I couldn't do that. A friend told me about them, and I said, well, I'm working still. I can't go work an event during lunch hours if it's doing, and then they made exceptions for me to get started. So I just truly believe in surrounding yourself with the right people. So just like I said, my boyfriend poured into me. Who you spend most of your time with, your friends, I mean, they have covered me, they have prayed for me, they have rolled egg rolls, they have worked events. And I really believe that for us to be successful, I know everybody loves, especially these rappers, self-made millionaire and all this. I don't believe anybody got there on their own. And if you don't lean on those people and recognize, no matter how big or small, they played a role in you becoming who you were, whether that was introducing you to a contact, making sure you have a great CPA, making sure you have a good insurance rep, because that was one of the things I found out is if you don't have a solid team, I'm not the expert in everything. So I need somebody that knows those things that can help my business going.
How has your experience been as a Black woman in the food industry?
Honestly, I think I've come in at a good time. Of course, they're doing a lot of things to shine light on women-owned businesses and minority-owned businesses. I definitely had struggles with getting funding, and honestly, I mean, it's horrible what's happened with the pandemic, but it's honestly been a blessing for Twisted Agro. We would go to the banks, and they would always say, we want to see the revenue higher. And I'm like, well, I can't get the revenue higher because I can't hire more people, and I only can fit so much in my little car to get to certain events if I can't invest in the vehicle. And it's just like, good luck. And this was the first time I was able to get real funding, because to even start a consumer packaged good line, I don't think people understand how much money you have to support that up front. They want to do net 30, which means that, hey, once you invoice them, they're going to take 30 days to possibly pay you back. Meanwhile, you've already had to buy all this food, produce the food, pay for payroll. So to even get over into this sector, I needed the money to be able to do that. So I feel like I was able to get funding as a Black woman on a lot of things, because that was one of the criteria to say, hey, we're going to make a priority for women-owned business or Black-owned businesses. And I also have my certification in minority and women business owned with the city as well. So that's one great thing that I can always show that certification to help me get along. And I mean, I just think I have a great network. And so I have leaned into that, and they've been able to connect me with a lot of people, especially when they say, hey, this is a Black woman-owned business, help her out, get her where she needs to go. And it's been really good.
What advice would you give other aspiring food entrepreneurs? You already dropped some gems, but I need you to
drop another one. Let me see what I got for them. What I always look back on, I know everybody always says in hindsight and all those different things, but honestly, it is a journey, and we're all trying to figure it out. Even as I'm being successful, there's still things I'm figuring out. But one thing I know for sure that I would have done different is that I would have gotten money when I didn't need money. And when people say that, sometimes I think you don't understand if you're not doing anything business-wise, but I'll break it down. When I was working in corporate, I had a great salary, and I can guarantee my own money and say, hey, look, I make this much, so if you loan me this, I'd be able to pay it back. Back in the day when people can get their done in Bradstreet, you could just do stuff on the business side. That is no longer the thing now. It's so much to get to a point where they will only use your business line of credit, so people don't get what it even takes to make that. So I would have started borrowing money when I didn't need it, so that when I did walk away, I would have had a better cushion and been able to move a lot differently. So even though I've made it where I've made it, I think I would have done my numbers even quicker and gotten there quicker had I had the funding up front, because there were things I had to pass up or say I couldn't do, because I was just in a position that having my MBA and knowing business, it wasn't smart. I know sometimes we stretch ourselves, or people take a really bad loan sometimes, but if you could have gotten a great rate because your credit score is great, you got a great job, and you say, hey, I got all this stuff already lined up, I would recommend that people get with a CPA, get their books in order before they walk away from their job, so that they can have their business credit already running.
Where can people go to purchase Twisted Egg Roll?
That is very exciting news. We just got our first deal with Foxtrot. So very happy. We're in 9 of their 12 stores, and by Q2 we'll be in all of them. The other 3 are a little smaller. They're express, so they just needed the space in the freezer. But that's one location. And then the other one, we just partnered with Green Grocer. They're on Grand Avenue. And so actually at Green Grocer, you can get all 3 of our flavors that we have: cheesesteak, buffalo, chicken, and veggie southwestern. At Foxtrot, we're just starting with the buffalo line right now. And then you also can go online, and we do pickups, and we do deliveries.
And what's the website?
twistedeggroll.com.
Okay, great. Before we wrap up, is there anything else you'd like our audience to know?
I would say, first of all, this is amazing. I know I make it, but I really have to have some discipline not to even eat it myself. So please, please, please go out, support, enjoy this amazing labor of love, because we still roll these by hand. We still pour into this. I'm still cooking. Okay. And so, before we blow all the way up and we in a co-packing, facility, you want to get them while I'm still cooking them, right?
Well, I can't wait to try them. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Remember to make plans to join us again next week for Conversations with the Citizen, the place where real news can be heard.